Hi, I'm Farhana Vora, and I'm here to discuss with you on this article that I wrote. It's called the breakup syndrome. It's how we go through a breakup and what we feel about it and how do we recover. So I'm going to do this in probably 3 steps. My first step is telling you that the breakups happen, whether it's with a friend, a relationship, whether it's with your spouse, or even if there is a trust breakup with somebody that is in the family. The first thing is acceptance. We need to accept this happened. This is the step to change. Most of the time we sit in the zone of saying, how could it happen to me? Why did it happen to me? What is it that I did wrong? Why could somebody actually be such a horrible person to me? It's happened. There's no going back. It's already happened to you. If by accepting, you're moving into the zone of healing. You're moving into the zone of claiming your own life back. Isn't that finally what we all want? Is to be a controller of our destiny. So I use this methodology. It's called ABCD: adversity, belief, consequences, disputation. The adversity is the breakup. The belief systems is what really gets us stuck in a mode to not being able to recover. Belief systems is anything that we have which is come through our family, through our friends, through relatives, to even something like movies that we see. That's the belief systems that's inculcated into us. It's not happened yesterday. It's not happened day before yesterday. It's a gradual process that's happened over a lifetime. Those belief systems gets us stuck. We can't move out. So here's what you need to do. You need to understand what is the consequences if you challenge these belief systems. By challenging it is by asking it, do you have space in mind today? Do these belief systems serving me well today? Or not? And if it's not, that's wonderful, because then you know that you need to change. You need to change where it's all starting from. By disputing it, by understanding, in changing it, we are moving towards a better tomorrow. So that's part 1 of my series. Thank you for listening to me. Hi, so this is part 2 of the breakup syndrome. So further to what we discussed, we talked about challenging your belief systems, how some stuff doesn't have place today, in your today. It existed in the past, and that's where exactly it should remain. Why should I carry the baggage of something that happened yesterday? So bring in a fresh today. If it's possible and you think it's worth it, get out of the situation. Absolutely. If you think you've taken it one too many times, get out. Start fresh, starts new. Life always deserves a chance to begin anew. But there are many times, and this happens constantly in our lives, there are many times when the external factor cannot be changed. And that's what I discuss more. When the external circumstances remain exactly the same, then how do you bring power to yourself? Well, whatever happens externally is happening outside. What I allow to filter into me is my decision. We need to create better barriers. We need to keep boundaries. We need to honor those boundaries. We need to say what I will allow from somebody else to filter and change my life. That kind of power is ultimately exactly what each one needs to create. The space in us is ours. We need to honor it. So I love giving an atypical example. Here is a water bottle. If I had to hold this water bottle high up, I could absolutely manage to do that for probably 1 hour to even maybe a few hours. Yes, my arm would hurt, but it's still possible. This is the emotional baggage that we need to keep down. And we need to say, it's happened. The trust is broken. The breakup has happened. Relationship is changed. Can I rechange it? Can I go back in the past? With a lot of work from the other person, maybe, but not on your own. So at that point, you need to say, okay, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to rest it. That's the process of healing. So once you've achieved that, once you've kept your emotional baggage down and let it go, that's when the healing process goes. So for the final part of it, keep watching for the next third part. Thank you so much for listening to me. Farhana Vora. Have a super day. Hi, so this is Farhana Vora, and this is the part 3 of the breakup syndrome. So as we discussed, it's nice to have moved into the zone of acceptance, forgiveness of yourself too, of why you were in that situation for so long. Sometimes the most hardest person to forgive is our true selves, is our own self. Finally, also challenge your beliefs, challenge your belief systems that whether they have served you well, and move on. Now, moving on is a very, very easy word to say, and probably one of the most hardest things to do in all of us. For all of us, we form relationships, and I think to love and be loved is probably the biggest gift of all. It's the elixir of life. It's what makes love. It makes life worth living. And relationships is that. So yes, we cannot sit there in a victim phase and keep blaming. It's after we move on, we start getting open to a lot of new spaces. Make sure you're not repeating any of the same patterns. For some reason, we do form the same patterns. Either something we have seen from childhood or something that we have inculcated in our lives. So do not find the same patterns in friendships or relationships. And there are other ways. I mean, I think nature just works wonderful. Exercise. The endorphins that get released are one of the biggest things that will help you to cope. Meditation is a huge other factor too. Go out, make new friends, find new exciting things that you've never explored before, and find yourself. In loving ourselves, in truly loving ourselves, there lies so many things, so much power. Forgive yourself, love yourself, and be your own best friend. The other thing that I love to quote is something called Ikigai, which is finding your zone. Finding what is that center point that makes you happy. I will be talking about Ikigai in the coming weeks. Please keep tuned on. Thank you so much. Farhana Vora, very nice talking to you. Keep following me.